Hello my fellow creators and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a real quick project share showing you my January entry for Kendra's Card Challenge 21. So in case you're not familiar with Kendra's Card Challenge, it is a quarterly challenge and you can make 15 cards using 6 sheets of 6x6 pattern paper. And when you make your 15 cards, you can enter the challenge using these QR codes. So this one for January, this one for February, and this one for March. And you can enter to win some really great prizes. So I thought I would just show you the cards I made because silly me forgot to turn the camera on when I was making them. So I'll be sure to link to Kendra's Card Challenge in the description box below and to her Patreon. So let's get started on sharing the cards I made. So as usual, I cut out all my papers, all my matte layers, and any sentiments or whatever else I needed to make each card and put them in a plastic sleeve along with the sketch. So I always print out the sketch at A2 size so I can kind of get a visual of what it will look like, and that way I can lay out my cut papers on here to be sure they look the way I'd like them to look. And then I also add the card base, but I've already assembled them and I put them back in here. So let me start by showing you sketch number 1 as I completed it. And so another thing I did that I've been working on all month is smashing some 6x6 paper pads that I had in my stash. They were all Valentine's Day themed, and they were from Michael's that I bought last year or the year before. And I did it. I smashed four 6x6 paper pads. But included in those paper pads were, for example, this pink foil paper was on one of them, and then these pattern papers. Now, the sentiment I used on this one and on most of them were from a stamp set from Not Too Shabby. In fact, it was this stamp set. It is the Sweet on You 6x8 stamp set. So I used Sealed with a Kiss. And I just stamped it and layered it here. So there is my card sketch number 1. And then card sketch number 2. Here we go. Again, this red foil was part of one of the paper pads. And after I already assembled this, I thought, you know, it would have probably looked even better if I had done some matte layers around the circles. So maybe that's what I'll do on my next set. But here is card sketch number 2. Here is card sketch number 3. And again, this pink glitter was part of that paper pad. Now, this die was one I had in my stash, and I'll link to anything I can find in the description box. So if it's in the description box, it's because it's still available. If it's not, unfortunately, it's not available. But I also added a matte layer behind this piece of pattern paper here. It's that pink foil. And then I did a black shadow around the Love You sentiment. So here's sketch number 4. Now, sketch number 4 in this quarter's challenge is a collaboration with Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Owl channel. This was a sheet load sketch from August of 2025. I'll also link to Call Me Crafty Owl's channel in the description box. So here's sketch number 4. Look how pretty. And again, this was another die I had in my stash. I think this was a Simon Says stamp die. Oh, I have some little die cut fuzzies. And then this holographic paper was also in that paper pad. It was a really good paper pad. I had 4. Some had metallic, some had glitter, some had this holographic, some were vellum, some were acetate. Really neat paper pad. And then I did use a black card base, which means I added the white matte layer on the inside. Now, if you're interested in getting previous Kendra's card challenges, you can become a member of her Patreon. And there's a lot of different benefits to being a patron member for Kendra's Card Challenge. Now here for this one, because of the way the papers ended up being cut, because I didn't pay attention, I just rotated it so that it was landscape instead of portrait. And then instead of putting this in a corner, I just put this heart in the middle. Now this heart was a cut apart that was in that paper pad as well. And it was actually a square cut apart, and I just fussy cut around the heart to add that as an embellishment or a focal point. So that's number 5. Here is sketch number 6. Oops. And this one, I used the pattern paper was a lot of hearts. So I did use the matte layers as called for in the sketch to kind of differentiate the two pattern papers. And then I used some more of that pink or pinkish purplish glitter paper that was in the paper pad. Really cute. Here is sketch number 7. Now this one, I had to kind of like use my brain, and what I did for this one is since it's so many strips of pattern paper, I lined them up and taped them together from the back, and then I cut the angle. That's how I was able to get them lined up just right. And then added them onto this white glitter paper and added that love you sentiment. And I think, you know, when you use a paper pad, the papers all coordinate beautifully. So that's how you're able to do a card sketch like this with all these different pattern papers on there, because they all work together. Okay, here's sketch number 8. And isn't that pretty? I think this one's really Valentine's-y, maybe because of the red foil background. I don't know, it's just, I love the way it turned out. And another little die cut sentiment I had in my stash. Okay, here's sketch number 9. And again, this was another cut apart that I just fussy cut around. So it's a little present, a Valentine's Day present. So cute. And then again, looking at it now, I think I should have added a matte layer behind this holographic paper, but you know, it's still cute. You know, hindsight is 20/20 when you're making cards. Number 10, this one, I used another cut apart, and it happened to be this square gift, so it fit perfectly inside here, and I trimmed it down. I fussy cut it and added it as that center focal point. Looks so pretty. And then I didn't add a sentiment on some of these. I kind of left them blank. But since this says love on that gift, I think it's okay. And lots of layers. I layered the pattern paper on some foil and then the black. Okay, sketch number 11. This one was supposed to be landscape, see, but again, the way I cut the papers, I ended up making it a portrait, and I think it turned out kind of cute. So here, where you would have put a sentiment this way, since I rotated it, I just spelled the word love using some alphabet dies I had in my stash and added a little pink glitter heart there. So I think it turned out pretty cute. Now, all of these cards, along with all the ones I made in smashing those 4 paper pads, I'm gonna donate to a skilled nursing facility. So as soon as I'm done recording this, I can take them and share the love. Here's sketch number 12. And look how pretty this looks. So I used, here I just used some red cardstock I had. It was textured cardstock, so I used that and put a black layer shadow behind it. I think it turned out pretty. All the X's and O's and hearts on there. And then sketch number 13. Again, this one was supposed to be landscape, but because of the way I cut the papers and I made it work, I made it portrait. Now, could I have gone back and recut this paper? Yes, but I just wanted to make it work. Now here, this matte layer of the heart, I had some scraps of the glitter paper, so I kind of just taped them together. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah. And die cut it so it looks like the heart is a two-tone heart. I think that looks cute on there. And then added that love you sentiment. Sketch number 14. I stuck close to the sketch. I didn't add, there was like a banner strip here. I didn't add it. I thought it took away from the scalloped oval, and I wanted it just to be that focal point. And then for these strips, instead of using patterned paper here, I used different Love from Lizzie peel-offs. So I used some red foil ones and some silver ones. And I think it turned out great. Isn't that pretty? So shiny. And then last, but certainly not least, sketch number 15. Here, this paper here was some vellum. And so I just glued that onto some white cardstock, as I did here, and used that on my card. So here, because it says love here, I didn't add another sentiment. And I just went with a red and black. I think it looks so pretty. I almost forgot to show you what the 4 paper pads were that I smashed. So these were 4 paper pads I got in 2024 from Michaels. And these 2 had glitter papers in there. This doesn't show all the patterns and all the glitter that was in there, but there was several different glitter papers. So this had the red one, a white one, and a gold one. This had a pink, a white, and a purplish one. And then they also had some acetate sheets in there. Now this was a full paper pad, no, this one, of just vellum, patterned vellum. So I used all of this. This had 20 sheets. And then this one had more metallic sheets in there along with patterned paper and some acetate. I think this one also had acetate sheets in it. So finish those 4. It was my goal because they've been in my stash and I had only used a couple pages out of each. And so I thought, nope, this is the year. This is the year I'm going to smash these 4 paper pads and make room for more patterned paper. Alrighty, friends. So there are my 15 cards for my January 2026 entry to Kendra's Card Challenge number 21. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I'd be thrilled if you subscribed to my YouTube channel or followed me on any of my other social media platforms. As always, have a beautiful, safe, and creative day. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Laid under the willow tree, the last weekend of summer. The empire at our fingertips, the autumn to discover. If I would have had the worthiness to be the perfect lover, would you stay under the willow tree when I asked if you would be? Would you be my Valentine? Would you be my Valentine? Still I lie within the memory, devoted as your lover. Take my hands and cover your eyes and tell me there's no other. Would you be my Valentine?